Evening, peeps. Good evening, everyone. How's everyone doing? Hopefully, you guys are all doing well. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button. If you guys are new to the channel, don't forget as well to like and share the vids. All right, before we talk what next for Liam Smith, let's have a quick look and see if there's any other interesting news floating around tonight. Let's start with this one. Tszyu, Tony Harrison, interim WBO title fight set for March 12th in Australia. Love it. Really, really like this fight. Someone asked me the other day, is the heavyweight division the most stacked in boxing? And I think it is. I think there are a number of big names and great fights you can make in the heavyweight division, but I do think that the light middleweight division is the second best. I think it's really deep, and a fight like this, I think, shows why. Remember, it was supposed to be Tszyu versus Jermell Charlo. Jermell Charlo's injured his hand, so Tszyu wants to stay busy, and I think Tony Harrison is such a good matchup for both. I mean, look, if Tony Harrison comes through, then you've got the Jermell Charlo trilogy. If Tszyu comes through, then I think, look, Americans, I don't think were that excited about Tszyu versus Jermell Charlo. I think if he beats Tony Harrison, his stock rises, and then I think they're all for it. I think everyone gets behind it, and I think it becomes a bigger fight. So I think this is a good fight for so many reasons. I'm surprised it's in Australia. I guess there's more money in the fight in Australia than the fight in America. But if you are trying to build that Tszyu, Jermell Charlo fight, or even trying to make him a star in America, this would have been the perfect time to have that fight in America. But I guess, look, it all comes down to pounds and pence or dollars. And I think it probably makes more dollars in Australia. But look, another good fight announced at the start of the year. That fight set for March 12th. Eubank Jr., I felt like I was dominating. Then I got caught. I'm still the better fighter. No. You certainly wasn't dominating. I think you had a good third round. He started to land a couple of uppercuts, but there was nothing in that which I would say was dominating. I thought Smith won the first round. I thought the second round was kind of even, could have gone either way. I thought Eubank won the third round, so I had it even. With regards to being the better fighter, no, even that's, you can't say that if you've just been knocked out. Do you know what I mean? I think that's almost silly. You can't say that. So, yeah. He kind of said this after the George Groves defeat. Not like this, but you remember him going back. Do you remember this? There was footage of him going back into his changing room and asking, I don't know who was there, but he asked them, did I win? I thought I won. And they all seemed scared to say, no, you lost. I think it was his dad that said you lost. Like, stop, you lost. But yeah, that's quite delusional from Chris Eubank Jr. You weren't dominating, and I don't think you're the better fighter. At Sauerland, it says Misfits Boxing is in talks to sign Ngannou, a floats to Chisora fight. This would be wild. If Misfits were to get this, it would be wild, because you'd like to think that everyone would want to sign Ngannou. Like, you'd think that because, look, he's a big name, Francis Ngannou, UFC heavyweight champion or former UFC heavyweight champion. A fight with him against any heavyweight is going to do, I think, decent numbers. Not record-breaking numbers, by the way. I don't think he's got that much pull, but it'll be decent numbers. So if Misfits were to get him, wow, they've clearly got a lot of money. I've always wondered what they pay KSI and these fighters. I've absolutely no idea. I don't obviously get involved in that. It's nothing we hear about. You know, like most fights, you kind of can know what kind of purses people are getting, but I have no idea what these Misfit guys are getting. I don't know if they're getting 20,000, 100,000, a million. I'm guessing KSI is hitting that 7-figure number, but the rest, I've absolutely no idea. But for them to sign Ngannou, that's 7 figures, maybe 7 figures minimum. So, look, they've done pretty well recently with pay-per-view buys. And I spoke to Kelly Sauerland, and I said to him, Gareth A. Davis tweeted the other day and said that the Misfits card did around 300,000. And he said, yeah, it's tracking to that, but it's not confirmed. We won't know until a couple of weeks' time. But he said it is tracking to hit that 300,000 number, which is quite high. Kambosos on Gervonta Davis. High caliber fighters will be able to take those shots. Yeah, maybe. I mean, look, we'll see. I mean, is Gervonta, does he have that real power? I mean, like Manny Pacquiao power coming up through the weight classes where it doesn't matter who you are, you're getting put to sleep? Or does that power only affect the lower level fighters? We'll see. We'll see how he gets on. I mean, I think that power is enough to put Ryan to sleep. I really do. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with Kambosos as well. I mean, some good fights for Kambosos in the lightweight division. I don't think he's done. I don't think he'll win a world title again, but it's not always about that. It's about being in entertaining and exciting fights. All right, there are other stories, but I quickly do want to touch on Liam Smith. This is supposed to be a Liam Smith video. Obviously, look, a lot of videos have been made by a lot of people about Eubank Jr. And sometimes you forget, well, 1 second, Liam Smith won that fight. He won that fight by 4th round stoppage. Some people, I just did a live, and some people on the live were telling me that he used an elbow in that punch, which I thought was a hook. So he landed the uppercut, then he landed what I thought was a hook, and people were telling me it was an elbow. I haven't seen that. I was very surprised by how quick Eubank's eyes swelled. So there's two things here at play. If it was an elbow, look, we've seen these things in boxing, it happens. If it was an intentional elbow, then there is a problem. But I'm sticking with, it was just a flurry of punches and that landed, and it was an accidental elbow. But regardless, I guess you can understand now why Eubank's eye swelled up so quickly. But look, aside from that, what next for Liam Smith? What next for Beefy? One thing that was interesting in the aftermath of that fight, when he was being interviewed, I think he was asked a question about what next, and I think Anfield was brought up, and he said, look, it depends on how much Ben Shalom's paying him. That's key. It's all about the money right now for Liam Smith, and that's important. He's 34. He's been a world champion already. It's not about belts for him anymore. In an ideal world, you fight someone for a belt, and that also is a big money fight, but that doesn't always happen. A lot of the big fights aren't necessarily against the world champions. Now, there's two things here for Liam Smith. Can you make 154 again? Are you going to stay at 160? At 154, there are a number of big fights, but I don't think there are a number of big money fights. A lot of the top guys are now based in the States. You've got a couple of guys, or one guy in Tszyu really in Australia. And I guess over here, you've got Josh Kelly. That's really the fight, isn't it? There are no other fights. Josh Kelly versus Liam Smith isn't the kind of money fight that Liam Smith's going to be looking at. So forget 154 for a second. It's all about 160. What are the options at 160? KELL BROOK potentially will go to 160. We've seen that before. Is that a big fight? Yes, it is. It's a fight I wouldn't want to see, but it's a money fight. It will go on pay-per-view. They will sell it. You know how it works, people. I'm not trying to say I'm advocating it, but you know how it works. That's a big money fight. Eubank rematch. Do I want to see it? No. Is it a big money fight? Yes. It's a big fight. So that's option number 2. Option number 3 is a big fight and a world title. We spoke about that earlier. Gennady Golovkin. It's a big fight. Triple G, Anfield, stadium fight. Triple G wants the money. He'll get the money because it will go on pay-per-view and it will do very, very good in terms of ticket sales. So that's probably, if I'm Liam Smith, that should be the front runner. I don't know how much of a front runner that is for Golovkin, but that should be the one. Golovkin isn't what he was. He'll be 41 by the time the fight rolls round if it happens. He's there for the taking. He's there for the taking. If you're Liam Smith, you've got a chance to become a world champion and to make millions and for it to be in a stadium fight. That, for me, should be the front runner. Everything else, and there are other options at 160. Janibek's there, Mungir's there, rematch. I think Liam Smith might do a bit better this time. Jamal Charlo's there. But the obvious option for me is Golovkin. And that's what he should be. Right now, he should be on the phone to Ben Shalom and saying, look, what can we do? What can we do? As much as yesterday was about him versus Eubank, you heard the crowd. You heard it. They were very, very pro-Smith. So I'm thinking a lot of those people that bought tickets were Smith fans. So Smith clearly has become somewhat of a draw. He's a big Liverpool supporter. I believe, and I don't necessarily think he has to fill Anfield, but I think he could get 40,000 in Anfield for Golovkin. I really do. So if I'm Liam Smith, that's the one. Now I know Golovkin wants big money. Reason he wants big money? Well, he's been paid big money from DAZN recently, and you know you've been paid that. You don't really want to take that. But I look at the options for Golovkin, and what are they? Golovkin looks like he's going to take a mandatory fight against a Brazilian, I think it is, who's like 13 and 14 and 0. He's going to do that. But in terms of the big money fight for him in the summer or the autumn, there aren't that many options. He's not going to fight Janibek. I don't think he's going to fight a fellow Kazakhstani. I don't think Jamal Charlo is going to want the fight or will take the fight or whatever. I don't think that's going to happen. Munguia is an option. DAZN, certainly an option. Big money fight that is. And then I think it's Liam Smith. He would have wanted Eubank Jr. to win. There's been conversations behind the scenes between Eubank Jr. and Golovkin, but Eubank's lost. So I think there aren't that many better options than Liam Smith. And for Liam Smith, there certainly aren't many better options than Golovkin. So I think all roads lead to Triple G. I think it's Triple G, Liam Smith in the summer, Anfield. Whoa. Like it. I like it. I really do. And I mean, as I said, I think yesterday, I've said it a few times, Liam Smith's having an Indian summer. It really is. I mean, his last 4 or 5 performances under Joe McNally have been really, really good. Really good. So I don't know who I make as a favourite for that fight. You know, Golovkin's legs have slowed down completely. He doesn't make that 160 comfortably. It's a great fight. That's a great fight. So I think that's the money fight for Liam Smith. Again, look, the Eubank rematch is there. Eubank's got the option to press the trigger on a rematch clause. I don't think he will. And KELL Brook's there as well. All three make money. KELL Brook makes money. Eubank makes money. But they have nothing to offer. You beat Eubank again, so what? You beat KELL Brook coming up from 147 in his last fight. Clearly passed it, so what? You fight GGG for world titles and money? Tick, tick, tick. Makes complete sense for me. Let's quickly read a few more. Roy Jones. I think Derek James may be able to get Anthony Joshua to apply pressure. We'll see. We'll see what happens. AJ's there now, training. There's nothing. No, I follow AJ on Instagram. There's nothing. There's no announcement. There's nothing. I'm hoping to see some footage. Nothing. Does AJ even still use his YouTube channel? Don't think he does that much either anymore. Timothy Bradley. Errol Spence is running from Terence Crawford. Is he? I don't know. Tim's talking a lot, Richard, recently. I don't know. I'm not quite sure. Froch on Eubank Jr. That could be curtains on his career. It was a bad defeat. It was a bad defeat. But you never know. You never know boxing. Every time I think a boxer's done, you know, there's certain people that I never expected to continue fighting, but they just did. Like I remember David Hay back in the day saying, "I promised my mum I wasn't gonna fight past 31," and he went on to fight Bellew at like 38, 39 or whatever it was. There's certain fighters you think will give up the sport because they've got other things, other interests, and they're the fighters that just keep on fighting. So I wouldn't be surprised if Eubank continues because don't know, maybe he just loves the sport. I'm not quite sure, but I wouldn't be surprised. What's this? Echo Usman credits distant fight experience for win against Chris Congley. Echo Usman, nicknamed the Engine, has been the distance a few times. I think in his last 4 or 5 fights, I think only one of them, Chris Jenkins, was ended or halted early. The rest, I think, have all gone the distance. And look, this man's clearly got the engine to keep on going, and it proved it yesterday. All right, guys, remember, we are doing the live watch along this week. So we've got 2 lives that I need you to put in your diary for me. It will be Wednesday evening. I'm thinking around what time? Wednesday evening, 8 o'clock. We'll get the live going for Yard Baturbia of Build Up. And then we are doing the live watch along Saturday. I think we're going to start at 8 o'clock as well. I was going to say 7:30, but knowing Frank, the main event fucking ring walk will be like midnight. So yeah, around 8 o'clock then as well. So please join me if you can. Peace and love.